welcome to the Agri-Learn podcast. I'm your host, Raina Nelau, an emerging full-time commercial farmer, as well as the brand ambassador of the Women and Youth Loan Scheme at the Agricultural Bank of Namibia. Now, today we're joined by Mr. Kamau Nandova, who is the regional branch manager right here at Midland Branch at the Agricultural Bank of Namibia. Mr. Nandova, thank you so much for joining us on the Agri-Learn podcast.
It's always my pleasure, Dashi. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, today we're talking about cooperatives, specifically agricultural cooperatives. What is a cooperative in a form of a business?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting discussion. And if I have to tap into my working experience, cooperative is more about community mobilization. It's also it's part of what we call organized agriculture, because we need those type of structures to be able to give our communities access to developmental initiatives that are there. Now, as the name actually indicates, cooperatives, it's actually cooperation between a group of people. Cooperatives is it's an association, it's an institution, it's an organization actually established by members, a group of farmers, group of communities, for instance, in the rural areas, who come together for a common objective, common goal, and voluntarily members actually get to join these institutions to be able to benefit from the services provided by this form of cooperatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, take us through the origin of agricultural cooperatives in Namibia.
Yeah, I think the research that I have done over the years is that cooperative is not a new concept, maybe new to Namibian environment, but it's an established sort of association or institutions globally, and more in all over Africa countries like Kenya and so on. The unfortunate thing is that Namibia, as we all know, went through political hardship, if I may call it that way, whereby we were depending more on South Africa. So most of these type of structures were managed, controlled, and organized from South Africa. Our cooperatives were then managed, controlled, established, and supervised through Registrar of Cooperatives from South Africa in Pretoria, up until after independence, when Namibian government actually amended the ordinal that actually used to govern the cooperatives, and amended that to enact it in a Parliament Act number 23 of 1996, whereby the Registrar of Cooperatives then started, managing, registering cooperatives in Namibia. And this is a body that is sitting within the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform. So if anybody wants to start up an organization called cooperatives, that's where they should actually go to get registered. There are policies and procedures, and that are guiding the registration of cooperatives, which is with our ministry. So that is actually the mother body which is managing cooperatives in Namibia. Now, a lot of initiatives and interventions went into the process of creating awareness, making sure that people understand what cooperatives are all about, what are the benefits, and how they can actually get started into cooperatives. So that's actually the background as far as the cooperatives in Namibia are concerned. We have a lot of cooperatives. I mean, it can be in the area of manufacturing, construction, mining, and all these kind of things. But specifically, as you said, today we will be focusing more on agricultural cooperatives because that's what matters to the Agribank of Namibia.
100%. Lucid explanation right there. Thank you so much. Now, you just briefly explained to us the origin of an agricultural cooperative in Namibia. Now, let's talk about the characteristics. What are the characteristics of a cooperative?
Yeah, I strongly believe that the characteristics of cooperatives are defined through the Register of Cooperatives, which I've said, because they set the guidelines of how and to what requirements these cooperatives should actually comply to. One of the cooperatives is actually the characteristic is the membership. It consists of voluntary membership, whereby a minimum of 7 members up to whatever number they can associate to a certain cooperative. It's a democratic sort of institution because people do volunteer to become members. They are not actually forced to. Members of cooperatives have got equal rights in decision making. You have got actually one vote in whatever decision that is being taken. Cooperatives are service organizations, service institutions. We are in a moving economy. Yes, they can be established maybe with the intention to make profits and so on, but that's not the primary objective why we established cooperatives. So one of the identification is actually service to members. They need to have bylaws. They need to have financial records that are being audited as per the Register of Cooperatives.
100%.
So those are some of the requirements that they need to meet as prescribed by the Division of Cooperatives in the Ministry of Agriculture then. So those are some of the characteristics that I can actually think of.
Oh wow, nice. Thank you so much for that. Can you list a couple of agricultural cooperatives that we have in the country? 1 or 2?
It is actually recorded that in the year 2016, there were 146 cooperatives registered in Namibia.
116?
146.
Sorry, 146.
46 in the year 2016.
Okay, yes.
So there are quite a lot, but there is still a need to mobilize community more to get into there's legal institutions called cooperatives. We can actually refer to cooperatives such as we have Kubasin Farmers Cooperative, which is in Rehoboth. We have Ohangwena Livestock Cooperatives up in the north. We have Oshi Young Farmers, also in Maheke Cooperative. We have what is this cooperative in Karara Shitu again. So yeah, we do have a couple of them, and not all cooperatives in Namibia have yet been financed by the bank, but those are a couple of cooperatives that I can refer to as well known in our setup.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of cooperatives?
I strongly believe that obviously advantages for establishment of cooperatives will be way more than the disadvantages. That's why the ministry actually got involved in encouraging those institutions.
Yeah.
From a developmental point of view, I strongly believe that given the limited resources that we have as a country, even from the government perspective, the NGOs, the private sectors, and even individual farmers themselves, the accessibility to resources and financing it's quite limited nowadays. So those that have got helping hands, those that should actually benefit from those assistance, are encouraged to get themselves organized. And one way to get organized is through cooperatives. So the benefit of cooperatives is the fact that you empower disadvantaged, less privileged people, especially in the rural communities, because not all of us have got the same potential, the same academic, financial ability to be able to benefit from resources. So through organizing ourselves into groups, we will be able to give our less privileged community members access to resources and products. The benefit of that is also that we want to eradicate poverty, and poverty eradication will be meaningless unless you cover a significant number of people who may benefit from that what you have to offer. We have got a challenge in the country of skyrocketing unemployment rate, if I may put it that way. And one way to significantly address that gap is through establishment of cooperatives, I believe. We have got food shortage in the country, and that's why we are importing a lot of our products from South Africa, because a lot of people are not yet actively participating in the food production area for the country to become self-sustaining and self-sufficient in terms of food production. So that is one of the areas that we are trying to address through cooperatives, by making sure that cooperatives, when established, they become actively in food production through crop production, irrigation activities, and so on. We have got a lot of cooperatives today that are engaged in poultry production, and I think the end result is for Namibia to become, food self-reliance.
100%.
We have got less privileged segments in our communities called women and youth, and I strongly believe that Agribank has established a financing scheme around that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they have.
And a lot of women and youth in our rural communities, if I may put it that way, can benefit and access funding from Agribank by them then becoming members of this setup called cooperatives, because individually it will be hard to be able to honor and meet the set requirements by the financial institutions. So basically it's a way of helping people to benefit and accessing resources that are available. In terms of capacity building, we have got institutions such as GIZ. Agribank has established what you call the AASD, and basically it's about getting out and reaching a lot of people out there. And how will you be able to reach a lot of people if they are not organized in structures like cooperatives. So you have a chance of developing more leaders, of empowering more people with knowledge and information that are beneficial for agricultural development and promotion in the country.
100%. Thank you so much for that. Now let's talk about Agribank. Has Agribank financed a cooperative or cooperatives before?
Yeah, as we all know, Agribank has been established through an Act of Parliament, Act number 5 of 2003, as amended, and with specific mandate of actually promoting and developing agriculture in the country by way of, availing affordable capital to the targeted group, those that can benefit from our financial provisions. Now, that mandate is actually cascaded into our strategic objectives, whereby we want to give access, our people access to financing through different financing schemes. And that's why we are not actually discriminating as an institution as to whom we can finance. We want to do our level best to see how inclusive we can be in our financing approach. So as much as we are providing financing to close corporations, PTY Limited, individuals, trust and so on, cooperatives are actually top on our list for financing purpose. So we have got a couple of cooperatives that we finance, whether the needs for that specific cooperatives is for tractors, like the one of Ohangwena, livestock cooperatives. They benefited from Agribank, where we finance them with 2 tractors that are operational and making a huge difference as far as food production is concerned. We've got a couple of cooperatives that benefited through livestock loans because a lot of people need restocking and getting into farming with livestock loans. So yes, Agribank does finance cooperatives. We don't do this alone. We are actually jointly financing cooperatives with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform through the State Guarantee Fund, which is available there.
Wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
So individuals who are in a cooperative are thinking to themselves, how can they get financing from Agribank? What do they need to do?
Yeah, it's quite critical to ensure that we have got proper understanding because we are talking of a bank.
Yes.
As an institution, we are not there to dish out grants to cooperatives, to beneficiaries of our loans. We talk about loans. A loan is actually a dollar that you borrow from a bank and you need to pay it back.
100%.
In a combination of capital as well as interest. So first and foremost, cooperatives are urged to do proper homework to understand what it is that they want to achieve. They need to have proper business plans of what it is that they want to do in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And once they have that, they can approach the bank then for possible financing. We have got the specific formulas that we use for financing of cooperatives. To give you a typical example, maybe a cooperative wants to borrow 1 million from the bank. Through the government government guarantee fund. The ministry stands for 80% of that loan. In other words, 800,000. It's actually an amount guaranteed by the state already. Cooperatives, through their members, they do collect membership fees. So we will obviously, ask them to contribute about 13-15% to that 1 million worth of loan. And then as Agribank, we also have got risk appetite of about 3-5% of that loan. So depending on what it is that the specific cooperative wants to do, if they are fully or provisionally registered with our division of cooperatives in the ministry, they can apply for a loan. We have got structures within the bank where we normally do pre-disbursement inspections to ensure that the application serves the purpose of what we are standing for as an institution. Is it meeting all the necessary requirements? Yes, you want to buy tractors, but where are you going to use those tractors?
100%.
Do you have the land? Do you have got the rights on that land? Is your business plan viable enough for us to give you the necessary funding? And then once we have given you this loan, then it's our responsibility as an institution also to go out and see whether the advanced loan was used appropriately or not. And then ongoing aftercare service from the bank is also given to the cooperatives in terms of support. So yes, that financing facility is there.
Right, I like that. And I like that the fact that the bank goes out and visit the client once the loan has been dispersed to make sure that it is being utilized for the purpose that the client said it would be.
Absolutely, it's a win-win type of situation.
100%. So, Mr. Nanzova, how can a cooperative reach out to Agribank?
I strongly believe that we are quite visible as an institution through our marketing department, through our sales team. And it's all about people being willing to access information out there. We have got road shows. We had road shows last year throughout the country where we provided people with information, and cooperative was also part of the agenda. We are visible at farmers meetings, farmers information days, different agricultural shows and trade fairs countrywide. People can visit our stands there, whether individually or collectively, to get information as far as cooperatives are concerned. We have got both electronic as well as print medias as platforms where we also share information with the public. That can also benefit the cooperatives in the country. And then, people can also visit our sales team at the branches. But as we all know, we have got about 8 branches countrywide, from Grootfontein, Ochiwarongo, Chakati, Rundu, Katima, Mariental, Windhoek, and so on. So people are welcome to hear about the requirements as far as cooperatives financing are concerned from our branches. Obviously, we can meet at weddings, funerals, if you happen to know someone from the bank. We are always available to share this information with the public. I think the modern digital platforms. I think I've made reference to that. If you're smart enough or capable enough to access that, you will be able to hear from us on those platforms as well.
100%. Now we're approaching the end of today's episode, but before I let you go, now Mr. Nandova, this season's theme is food security. How do agricultural cooperatives contribute towards food security in Namibia?
Agricultural cooperatives will not be able to contribute to food security unless they get the necessary support from Agribank, which is the one and only agricultural financing institution at competitive rates, with flexible repayment terms and so on, because of our developmental mandate. So I strongly believe that it should actually start with the individual cooperatives themselves. There is a gap. Food security is an opportunity for them. They need to become agripreneurs in the sector. Identify and acknowledge that as an opportunity and actually capitalize on that. So there are business plans that they develop for financing, or whether it's through foreign capital or their own equity as members, must actually address or help the country to address that gap of food security. Our financing model is of such a nature that we encourage diversification. So we want to empower more cooperatives into the area of irrigation projects, crop production, depending on whether all other factors are actually equal and are well in place. So if you empower a cooperative where land is available, where water is available, and you support them with the necessary tools and equipments and infrastructure to set up those irrigation projects, because you talk about up to 200 people as an example as members of cooperatives. So if you empower such a large number of people, how many communities will be able to benefit directly and indirectly from those investments? So the more people we empower through cooperatives, the more we realize the benefit of food security as a country. Another way of also cooperatives contributing to food security is through poverty eradication, by the number of people that they will be empowering through the provision of their service, and the employment. If somebody doesn't have $1 to buy something, but you get employed because of cooperative that was funded, you will obviously contribute to the total, objective of food security as a country. So it warrants joint effort from us as a bank, from government, to identify those dreamers in the cooperative setup, and actually give them the necessary support, whether it's in the form of land, the tools and equipments that they need to encourage this kind of activities. People that are also involved in livestock production do contribute to food security, because milk is food.
100%.
Meat is food. So we need to empower cooperatives in different fashion to make total meaning towards food security as a country. 100%. I believe.
100%. Mr. Nandova, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to be part of this interview. We highly appreciate it. Valuable information that you've shared with our amazing listeners as well as viewers. Any final remarks from your side?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it was a fruitful engagement.
Yeah.
My word of encouragement goes out to the individual listeners out there. It goes to agribankers themselves to encourage the communities to form up cooperatives.
Yeah.
And actually access the relevant information from the bank, which can be to their benefits. Our loan book is quite open, it's quite flexible to accommodate them. And we would welcome them if they have got bankable, business ideas. It's our responsibility and mandate to actually look after those business ideas and basically add value to them. So we are looking forward to, increasing business opportunities from the cooperatives. And I'm sure that marketing department will help us realize that as well.
We'll definitely do.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, you've heard it right there. Oh, you've seen it right there as well. Until next time, it's bye-bye.
Bye-bye.